show is about to begin.
Now Seager to right center field, way back there, and gone again. 7-0, and now Simeon crushes a ball back to left field. Gurriel to the wall. Goodbye.
Spooky night in Arizona. The Rangers shook the Diamondbacks early and are now one win away from their first ever World Series title in franchise history. But first, let's talk out Game 4 and get ready for Game 5. Jason Kipnis, Eric Kratz, AJ Przinsky, I'm Scotty Braun. It's the Foul Territory World Series postgame show live.
You are now listening to Foul Territory. Welcome to the show.
Hey, look who's here. Jason Kipnis joining the party tonight. How do you think baseball is being received in Arizona right now, Kip?
I think they wish the game started probably past the fifth inning tonight.
They would have won.
They would have won. I would have liked it a lot better.
AJ, what was the thing you said when you first popped on to say hi to us before the show went live? It's about something at the end of the game.
Who has the most runs? Wins?
No, it has to do with the reliever. That's really good on the Rangers.
Jose Leclerc. Why the heck was he in the game with a 6-run lead with 2 outs? And I think Will Smith has been around long enough. He could have probably figured a way to get 1 out before he gave up 6 runs. But I don't know, man. It seems like that was a Bochy. That was over managing to me. I mean, Leclerc. If they're going to win it tomorrow, they're going to need Leclerc probably to pitch tomorrow. That'd be 3 days in a row. So. I don't know. I was surprised by that one. I didn't love that move.
Manager Eric Kratz, would you have done that?
I wouldn't have, but I guess he had to. It'll be one of those hindsight things. Maybe they don't even need him tomorrow night. Maybe the Diamondbacks take one to make sure the Rangers can win this thing at home.
Bullpen games, not my thing. I'm sorry. Even when they're like, quote, good bullpen games, it's I don't know. It's not as good as 2 starters matching up. Even if the starter gets clobbered, one of them, it's not sexy. It's not good for the game in terms of aesthetics. And what?
He needs a starter. He won 5 innings.
He was a starter. I'm fine with that. But what about the Diamondbacks?
They had a couple starters in. Ryan Nelson, Kyle Nelson, Frias. I guess Frias didn't start, but they put 2 starters in just later in the game.
Yeah,
not enjoyable.
This is what happens when bullpen games go wrong. This is what happens right here. You get these type of games where you give up 11. It's just when bullpen games go wrong, you get these ugly games, and that's why starting pitching usually wins. And say what you want about Heaney, he gave them 5 solid innings. Granted, he was up 10-0 in the 3rd inning, but he still got through 5 and saved some bullets for him. For tomorrow. I mean, now they have Evaldi and they have most of their main relievers ready to go, and I'm sure Leclerc will be available too. But when bullpen games go wrong, this is what you see. I mean, Mantiply did fine, but then Castro came in and gave it up big time, and then after that, it was just a parade of 10-0 in the 3rd. The game's over.
Probably should avoid Corey Seager a little bit more. I feel like whatever their game plan is against him, not really working. Time to re-strategize.
Just stop.
Why are they pitching to him? Yeah.
I don't understand. It's every game now. Like, isn't that the one guy to pitch around? And Adolis Garcia, not to mention, we'll get to that, but Garcia and Max Scherzer are done for this World Series. You know what? Let Travis Jankowski beat me. Can you not say that in the meeting with your pitcher, Kratz?
Why can't you say that? Why can't...
It's happening every day now, though.
Well, it was happening to the Astros, too. I mean, the Rangers were doing that to the Astros. They kept like, hey, we're going to set up Will Smith, Yordan Alvarez matchup. Oh, we're going to set up we're going to bring Bradford in to face Yordan. Stop. Just start bringing the righty in to face Simeon. And now, because you keep matching it up so that so that you can get Seager out, Simeon finally started to get some hits. And, that's the way you get those guys out. It's kind of how I actually got some hits when I was in the big leagues. I couldn't hit a slider, so I hit the fastball before the slider. Like, you can't – it's okay to not get Seager out. It's okay. Just get the guys out around him.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, you don't make an adjustment, AJ, next game? Like, hey, guys, if we lose again, our season's over. Let's avoid Seager. Or at least, I mean, yeah, like Krat said, you're bringing in, kind of average relief lefty arms to face him. Not working. So if you've got your big boy in a big spot and you need to get an out, okay, right? One of your high leverage guys. But if not, like maybe you make him swing outside the zone or take a walk. He hasn't taken a walk in a few games now, has he?
Well, he also, I mean, they had their high leverage reliever. Remember Paul Sewald, and he got to him too. So it's tough because they're in a tough situation. They got Gallen going tomorrow. They're going to need some innings out of Gallen because all their long guys threw today, pretty much. I mean, both Nelsons threw today. Saul Frank threw again. I mean, they're going to need at least 6 tomorrow out of Gallen if they have a chance to get to Thompson, Ginkel, and Sewald at the back end. So it's a rough situation. Obviously down 3-1, we know that. But it's even rougher because when you have these bullpen games, if they don't go right, you use everybody, and it makes it tough for the next game. That's why these bullpen games have to go right. And give Bruce Bochy credit. Once again, the master of the bullpen with Heaney, 5 innings. And then using his guys up until Leclerc was the only thing that he did that I don't think everyone totally agrees with. But, hey, they won, so he knows more than we do.
I'm getting 10 outs from Ginkel and Sewald if I have a lead.
More
Not
than
12,
that.
but 10. More than that? 12?
I mean, maybe, I guess, because you're going to have to – you just got to – it's right now you have your backs up against the wall and you have one night. You got to just win to get to the next day.
Right.
You just got to get
right.
you get to game 7 because anything happens in a game 7. So I think you just got to get there first.
This is when MVPs are made. Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, they're going to have to take this team on their back. Gallen throws a big game here. Merrill Kelly will have to throw a big game. And if he does, that's MVP time for Merrill Kelly.
Yeah.
So the Rangers are now 10-0 on the road in the postseason. That's really good. One dude who definitely does not give a shit about where he's hitting baseballs, Corey Seager. But another one who definitely is like a pretty composed, easygoing dude who was struggling for a while has turned it on, especially today, and started getting going in the last game. He is our player of the game.
Foul territory player of the game.
And we can talk.
Go ahead, Kip. Yeah, that's your guy.
You can talk about Seager being all world too, but just because this guy's been struggling, Simeon's been one of the more reliable guys in the league for the last couple of years. Last 5, like he posts every day. Like you said, he's been quiet, but you might not notice if he's going well or bad at times. I think this was kind of his obviously coming out party and introduce himself like, hey, it's not just Corey. We can't just pitch around Seager. You got me in this lineup too because they have a good offense.
There's nothing like a reliable, consistent second baseman, right?
Hey, I hear you. Did he play every game this year?
I believe so. Yeah.
That's impressive. That's what I'm saying. When you can count on a guy, just put his name in the lineup every day and not have to worry about it, that's awesome.
And he put the game away.
Isn't that what most teams want, though? I mean, I know we're in the era of platooning and this and that, but you look at the really good teams; they use the same guys over and over again. I feel like the Rangers, Simeon, Young, Heim, Seager, when he missed a month, but Garcia, right? It's the same guys every day in and day out. Nathaniel Lowe. You go to the Braves, right? You go to the teams that are good year in and year out, or the teams that use the same guys. The Astros, Altuve, Abreu, Pena, Bregman, Alvarez, right? It's the same guys repeatedly. That's what every organization wants, but they can't find them. They can't do it.
Every organization and every manager wants those flexible guys who can play multiple positions, but you won't find one manager that wouldn't love to just write the same names on the lineup card every single day.
The best teams have it, 100%. Mm-hmm. The Phillies, you didn't mention the Phillies. Look at Kyle Schwarber's, whatever you say about his defense, he wants to be out there. He doesn't want to have days off. The Dodgers, Freddie Freeman, leader of that team. He wants to be out there, doesn't want to have days off. I get it. These guys are all-stars, perennial all-stars, but when you can, especially top of the order type of guys like that, it is such a value.
So when you saw the 2 injuries that were announced before this game started, Adolis Garcia and Max Scherzer done for the rest of the World Series here, did you think, Texas is in trouble? I didn't. I mean, obviously Scherzer's not really himself right now. He's been okay, but he's not been the normal Scherzer we're used to. He's coming back early from an injury. Adolis is a big loss, but at the same time, I mean, dude, they've got Thump in their lineup without him.
They're a good team. I thought the Garcia injury obviously hurt them a little bit more than the Max because I don't think Max was pitching. Besides, maybe he would have came back in Game 7, but I think that would have been probably a bullpen game for them too. But the other one hurt, where you started questioning how, without Garcia, that they might be able to pitch around Seager and all that. But then in comes Simeon, and the rest of the lineup gets hot, and then you realize that there's really nowhere to go for these pitchers.
Okay, I got to ask you, Kip. You were up 3-1 in a World Series in this decade.
Yeah, trust me. You're not going to hear me say it's over for the team that's up 3-1 by any means here. But off the air, we were talking about the comparisons in this series, and there really are a lot to the 2016 one with us and the Cubs, and that's why, just to hit back on it with the Leclerc, I thought both teams, it happened in our series in 16 that we got Chapman up in Game 6, and I thought that he didn't need to throw, and I thought that was going to play in our benefit, which it did in Game 7. And even against us, I thought we used Miller in Game 5 when we shouldn't have, and he was then tired. So I'm even if it's for one batter, it's all the pitches that they're throwing in the bullpen and just getting loose, and you have that high energy, even if it's for one out. It takes a little bit out of you. It's you're using up some of the bullets that they have, and it can come back to play in the series. But
Also
the same way the Cubs did is the other thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now where you need. Like the Cubs had, let's see, they had Lester, Arrieta, and Hendricks set up behind them. So now you need that Gallen and Merrill Kelly to be the aces that they are to get this back there. It's set up all like that.
Yeah, and then once you get to 7, it's whatever. I mean,
whatever.
Anything can happen, as we know. Also, back to this game for a moment. I mean, I know he actually found it a little bit with his bat, but AJ, sort of rough little play there for Christian Walker that could have been a double play. I mean, to me, that really was the game there that cracked the inning open. 10 2-out runs. I know. I mean, obviously you got to pitch well, but he's had a rough series aside. I know he got some hits kind of later on in this game, but it's a tough play there after the play in Game 3 where they could have scored first.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not gonna beat on Christian Walker too bad. That was a tough play. He was trying to make a double play. It was going to probably be a 3-6-1, which is the most difficult double play to turn in baseball. He missed it, but then they got the second out. So then it's on the pitcher to get him out of it, right? I remember, I think Frias was pitching. He looked right at Walker, and Walker goes, "I got you. Get me another one." You saw him do it. He's like, "I got you. Get me another ground ball." And then he struck out Tavares, and then Jankowski, who you guys said make him beat you. Well, he had a couple big hits for him tonight to beat him. So it's just the way the Rangers are rolling right now. Yes, Garcia's not there, but you throw Jankowski in there, he gets 2 hits, drives in a couple runs, and then obviously the Simeon home run to put it at 10, put the game away. But, I mean, they still got 2 outs, and they had a chance to get out of that inning without any more damage. And, Jankowski and Simeon came up with 2 outs and got it done for them. So I can't put all this on Christian Walker. That's a lot to throw on one guy. He's been their guy for the last couple of years, even when people didn't even know who the Diamondbacks were. He was out there swinging it, playing every day, winning Gold Gloves at first base. So it's tough. You feel bad for a guy like Christian Walker, but also pitchers have to make pitches.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a huge you sit in a Rangers position. Kip was in the Rangers position where they are, 3-1. Who's the guy that you're afraid of over there? I'm afraid, obviously, of Ketel Marte. He's going to do his thing. He's going to get his 1 or 2 hits a game. If Christian Walker gets hot, like he was hot during a 4-game stretch, two-game series against the Rangers during this season, he hit 3 dingers. He can change the game. That's why he's going to be in the spot in the lineup. He had 3 hits tonight. Garbage hits, good hits. They're hits. He might start feeling it. He starts feeling it. This dude had 33 pumps this year. He's a 100 RBI guy. He could change the complexion of this series when you kind of counted him out, because you can't count him out. And Ketel Marte is going to be on base.
You better do it soon. You're running out of time.
I'm looking at Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
I want him. He's the guy that when I think of the Diamondbacks, I think of him more. If he starts getting on and starts stealing bases, and I feel like the Diamondbacks ball where they're pesky and running all over the place, he sets the table for that offense.
Yeah, it's true. Because, I mean, they're not going to outslug the Rangers, even without Adolis Garcia.
No.
But they
it's
still
just
didn't
not a
steal.
power hitting team.
But they didn't even steal tonight. Marte, in the 1st inning, Marte leads off the game. He went with 2 outs. He got a horrible jump and got thrown out. But even after Heaney threw over twice and had no more throwovers, he had a tiny lead and didn't go. The game for the Diamondbacks is put pressure on them, right? You're down 2-1 in this series. Ketel Marte gets a leadoff hit, and you don't even attempt to steal till there's 2 outs. Like, try to go early in the count. Let Corbin Carroll hit a ground ball to get you to third with 1 out, and then let someone drive you in from third with less than 2 outs. But to not even go until there's 2 outs, I feel like the Diamondbacks, for all the publicity and all the hype we've all given them for being aggressive and being this chaos team, I think we talked about it last night, Kratzy, where we said they only do it when they're ahead. They don't. It's like they're scared until they get like 3 or 4 runs ahead. They're like, oh no, now we're ahead. Now we can play our game. But how about we start that in the 1st inning? Ketel Marte's on first. Freaking take off. Get to second. Push the envelope. You're down. You got to score first. Again, they didn't score first. And again, I don't know how Kratzy feels about this, but the catcher on one knee with a runner on third, it came back to bite him again. I know that's the way they do it, but again, the first run scored on a ball in the dirt that Moreno couldn't move over because he's on one knee. Say what you want about it, but that's a big run in these World Series games.
I completely agree. This is where points on the board in games are different than analytical evaluations of who is good at doing something. We're just specifically talking about receiving, the numbers receiving. He's athletic enough. Moreno's athletic enough to be able to move around, and he got stuck right there, and his glove, does he get it if he's not up in the blocking stance? I don't know. But to me, it's the optics of it, and it's the fact that Heim had some nice blocks that he was able to get to. And if let's put it this way, if it's because he was on one knee that he didn't block the pitch, I have a huge problem with it. Huge problem.
That's what everyone does now, though. I mean, you're going to change right there?
Yeah, but everybody, yes, it's okay to change. It's okay to be able to do 2 things. It's okay to be able to hit a dinger and bunt a guy over. Nate Lowe should have, early in the game, he should have figured out a way to be able to put the ball in play. Is that a tough matchup? Absolutely it is. And I'm not saying Nate Lowe, like it was something that, he's got to change, but hitters on good teams can adapt to things. So on defense, it's no different. You don't see an infielder like, hey, bro, like, I'm no good with my backhand, so I don't need to be able to do that. Like, I'm just more of a forehand guy, so if they hit to my backhand, we're just not going to make the play. Like, they're just punting. They're punting on that run with a slower runner at third base.
I'm going through the chat right now, and yeah, I see a little bit of it, but there are some fans that think we're not loving the Rangers enough. This is the classic, you call a game. This is AJ calling a game. You hate both teams. You love both teams. Let me be clear. If you watch Foul Territory every day, the Rangers are a more talented team. They spent more on their team. They are getting more out of their team right now. So I don't think there's any doubt on that front. There's just a lot of problems in the beginning of the game and just not seeing the total brand of baseball that we see from Arizona. No, I mean, on the other side, the Diamondbacks are pretty much screwed. I don't know what else you want us to say. You've got Evaldi, who's been one of the best big game pitchers there. Jordan Montgomery after that, if need be. They're in a lot of trouble at this point. And then actually, if for some reason we got to a Game 7, John Gray was shoving for a few innings the other day. So, I mean, everything is against Arizona at this point. Can they get another game? Yeah, I do not see them coming back in a series like this. I actually think the biggest thing, Kip, in my mind is the bullpen for Arizona. I think it's good, not great. And I think if they had this insane bullpen and they got these early leads and they could hold off and pull off some upsets, cool. But I don't know. There's nothing there for me that's going to say, okay, this team can, rack up 3 in a row against the Rangers despite losing a couple of their guys. At least in my mind, I could see them scratching a game or two, but it's really hard to see 3.
That means this next game is going to be decided probably in the first 5 innings. Because you want that. If the D-backs want any part of this series to come back in their favor, they're going to have to jump out to an early lead. And then, like AJ was saying, they're going to play their brand of baseball where they're going to have to pour on those runs and try to save some of their bullpen arms. That's where they're really going to come in handy too. And it's hard because it's like, A, you're not guaranteed to score those runs, and B, you're not guaranteed to hold this Rangers offense set down.
AJ, you got Evaldi doing it? What? Go ahead.
Of course, yes. I think Evaldi's been awesome. I mean, he got roughed up a little bit in Game 1, but he's going to come back. He's going to be on fire tomorrow to win the World Series. But Kip, what I want to hear from Kip is, we always talk about it on Foul Territory. Like, how important is it to score first? If you're the D-backs tomorrow, especially at home, they got to score first, because if they get behind, I feel like they're in serious trouble.
It is. You start you don't start thinking this is the end, but it starts, each out becomes that more of a heavier weight on your shoulders where you're just doing anything. You start begging to get any kind of runs instead of just focusing on the game. And that's where scoring early kind of really does come into play for a confidence standpoint, for better hacks. You watch the at-bats tonight. Texas got up obviously a little early. How aggressive was Texas in the box? It seemed like they were swinging one of the first 2 pitches. If there was a strike in the zone, they were hacking. Arizona was back on their feet, getting in deep counts because they just weren't pulling the trigger or weren't really that aggressive in the zone early on in the counts. So when you are up, you get to play a little looser, a little freer, and you get to be a little bit more aggressive. And you just saw how Texas was able to do that and run with it.
Yeah, there you go. A few more highlights here right now, early on, of this team putting together, a second and third inning. Yeah.
They were swinging early and often. It looks like they had a better approach, or whether it was because they were ahead or that was just the game plan. They were aggressive in the early parts of every at-bat, it looked like.
And that wasn't always the case. I mean, the Game 1 win was all about them spitting at pitches.
Yeah.
And they lost Game 2 when Kelly's all over the zone. And, I think they kind of adjusted later on in the game, and then Kelly was striking them out. But yeah, this was kind of a total performance early on from the offense.
I think it may have to do with the relievers, with the pen game. These guys are kind of 2-pitch guys that want to get to their out pitch. They want to get to 2 strikes on you. So you don't even let them get to that nasty breaking ball or something. And you just hit one of the fastballs they throw early and over.
And the biggest thing that's so real, that changes so much right now, Kratz, about baseball nowadays in the playoffs, is that you keep rolling out the same relievers. You see them more often in the postseason nowadays than you used to, and it changes things. I mean, you get 4 or 5 looks at relievers, and I'm not just talking about the late game dudes. Obviously, that helps too, but you see the middle relievers multiple times. That's when you put up crooked numbers. I feel like that's what you see in many postseasons. They go to the same dude over and over to get to your bridge from like the 5th to the 7th. And you're like, oh, there's a 4 spot.
Yeah, I mean, neither of these teams want to see their bridge guys. Game 2, they hadn't seen, the Rangers put out their bridge guys because it was a 4-1 game when Monty left, actually 2-1, but then those runs cashed in. Then they had to put those bridge guys in. That's not a good matchup for them. That's not a good matchup for the Rangers. To me, the issue is what you said about seeing guys too many times. Like, if you see who saw Leclerc tonight, who got the hit, and then who was the last out? I'm forgetting.
Walker. Moreno got the hit, and then Walker was the last out.
So Moreno's seen Leclerc. And who did we say could be a big swing in these games if the Diamondbacks are going to come back? It could be a Walker at bat that he has in this Game 6 when it's a tie ball game in the 9th, and they got to bring Leclerc in to keep the game close. I just think I don't know how the person that comes to my mind is Dodgers Brandon Morrow. Brandon Morrow just kept getting run out there, and the Astros just got to him. And he was throwing 5 out of the 7 games. We don't have that situation yet, but I think this could be where a guy like Bochy is his experience. I remember we can't just keep going to all these guys all the time and giving them their looks, because it could turn out bad in a time when you need them.
The bridge guy in Game 3 was good though for the Rangers.
Huge.
John Gray was
Huge.
That's a good bridge in Game 3 because
Did you
you've
see
seen
that
that
coming?
too. Did I see that coming? No, but are you surprised? Like John Gray has good stuff. You know, he's in the regular season. What do you call him? A number 3?
Yes.
Okay. So a number 3 out of your bullpen for 3 innings where the stuff plays up, and now you're upper 90s and the slider's on. That'll
But he's
play.
had one outing. He's had one outing, and it was poor. He looked bad in the playoffs before this last outing. So you don't know what you're getting. It's like Evaldi's first outing in the playoffs. You didn't know what you were going to get. He was bad the last 4 starts of the season. You didn't know what you were going to get. Now we know. Now we know this dude is an absolute beast in the playoffs, just like he was his entire career. But John Gray gives you one postseason appearance, and you're like, oh, crap. We got to go to John Gray now because Scherzer's out. And John Gray's like, I can throw. I mean, he was touching 97s last night in Game 3.
Did you see that comment just now, Kip, from, I think it was Mike Gore, the name was, you can use Montgomery in relief tomorrow if need. I'm like, I don't think so. That's desperation. I think you got to play that smart. There it is.
Why? Why would he say that, you think?
Because he doesn't know
He
what
would
he's
be
talking
going
about.
Game 6, wouldn't he?
AJ.
What did AJ say?
He goes, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's
There ain't a
desperation.
chance-
You don't need to do
There ain't
that.
a chance in holy hell that Jordan Montgomery gets on the field tomorrow. I don't care what the score is. This game would have to go 57 innings, and he still wouldn't be out there. Yeah, I would have a better chance of pitching before Montgomery gets in the game tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not
fair.
sure. That's why I asked, like, what am I missing?
Nothing.
Sorry.
You're not missing
The
anything.
lead. He's saying if they get the lead, throw out all the best guys they got to make sure they win that one. But if there's a backfire, that sets you up to be backfired on the Game 6 and Game 7 right there. That's why you can't throw him to answer that guy's question. Or
Also, yeah, and on top of that, even if you were crazy and wanted to go that route, Jordan Montgomery's stuff was down last time around. He actually looked like a guy that could use an extra day. Like, I'm not throwing him out there right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, his velo was down, his spin rate was down, his stuff was down. I mean, he can pitch through that, but I'd rather have him, start like a normal dude that he is, a number 2 or whatever you want to call him, in Game 6. So I think they're good. That's why they're in a great spot right now. So It is what it is. If anyone has a question, throw it down there right now. We'll do one question before we head out. But in the meantime, check out MLB 9 Innings Arrivals. Let's run that for you, and then we'll chat afterward.
We all love the game. The game. We all put in our blood, sweat, and tears. We're all pushing for the same goal. We all want to be the best. We all want to be the best. The competition never ends. And rivalries are made. Start your rivalry today in MLB 9 Inning Rivals.
Boom, there it is. Check out the app. You can download it for free. Scan the QR code on your screen. And game features include new battle content, postseason pick'em mode. You can switch between quick play, highlight play, and full play. And they kind of have the best baseball commercials out there, some of the best at least. So props to MLB 9 Innings and MLB 9 Innings Rivals. Okay, final thoughts here. Is there any chance that this gets extended for another couple games in anyone's mind here? And if so, how does that happen? So like Tyler said, what do the D-backs have to do to make this go 7 besides winning 2 in a row? Yes, we can give you a little more than that.
I can go first. I'm going to say, of course, there's a chance. I would never say there's not a chance coming from my history, but I really think that the Rangers' depth and offense was showcased tonight, and is really going to be hard to beat these next few games, especially next time.
I have one tip because I talked about it like 15 minutes ago. Different game plan against Corey Seager. Come on. It's the guy. It's the guy that can't beat you. Enough.
It's a good start.
Yeah. I know easier said than done, but my thing with guys that swing that much, AJ, is I know it's not just a video game. You press a button and the pitch goes wherever you want it, but can you not set up like way outside the zone and say, fuck off, dude? Not this time. Like just to at least say like, yo, not you. Someone else beat us. Okay. Because I feel like that happens sometimes. And not only does it work, it can get in a guy's head. I mean, I'm thinking back now, actually. Remember years ago where Harper kept walking a ton and then eventually it kind of got in his head and he admitted it. But even in the last round, the Diamondbacks definitely adjusted their game plan, especially against Harper. And they were like, yo, enough of this. This dude's not beating us. Someone else beats us lower in the lineup. Cool. If we get consistent, outstanding performances from, Bohm, Castellanos, etc., they're hitting homers left and right. Fine. That's how we go down. They didn't go down.
Listen, here's the thing for me. If they're going to do anything, yes, they have to make better moves on Seager, better pitches. But you know who's got to show up tomorrow and hasn't shown up early in the postseason? Zach Gallen. He's supposed to be one of the top 5 pitchers in the National League. Well, he's got a 5.27 ERA in this postseason. He's pitched 27 innings, gave up 28 hits, 13 walks. 13 walks for Zach Gallen, a guy that's not supposed to walk anybody. So if the Diamondbacks want to extend this, they got to look at that guy right there on the right on the screen and say, hey, Zach, guess what? We're going to need you to show up. You're pitching at home. Show up. Give us 6 quality innings. Give us a chance to get the lead early and give us a chance to get to those guys in the bullpen. Because if he goes out and gives up 4 in the first 3 innings, guess what? Pack your shit, boys. This series is over. Rangers are world champs.
100%. I was going to say the walks. 18 straight games, Zach Gallen has walked somebody that he has started in. And that cannot – yes, there's a difference in walking Seager to get to Mitch Garver. If they have Mitch Garver hitting – I think they'll probably have Evan Carter hitting behind Mitch Garver tomorrow. Behind Corey Seager. But you cannot walk 4 guys. Like he had an admirable start his last time out. He has been okay. He has to step up. There's no – because normally a 3-1 game, that manager, Torey Lovullo, is going to be like this on the panic button. Go! But what happened tonight, is they used all their bullpen. This is Zach Gallen's game. They said, we are going to flush everybody out. Yeah, there's going to be some guys available. I get that. Castro's probably available. Diamondbacks fans are like, ugh. And to me, they have to keep it close. Let's say Gallen gives them 5. To me, that's a below average start for what they need from Gallen. But let's say they give him 5. You have to go right to Ryan Thompson. You have to go to Ginkel, whatever your spot in the lineup is. You got to. I may even say we might see Ginkel in the 4th. If Ginkel's spot in the lineup, his sweet spot is, an Evan Carter. Mitch Garver probably would be Grossman then. But, if it's that spot in the order, to me, you might see Ginkel in the 4th. That's worst case scenario for the Diamondbacks. But he cannot walk so many guys to the point where they may even be like, hey, we're not even wasting pitch count. Put them on. We're going after Carter. So it could be an Evan Carter type of game.
That's fine. Let the rookie beat me. Just not Seager. Enough, if I'm them. And on the other end, credit to the Rangers is how we'll finish, and we'll talk all about it, especially if they end up winning this thing. They spent money and it worked, period. They've been aggressive at the deadline. We talked about this a lot if you're an FT fan and you're with us regularly. They did it at the deadline. They did it during multiple free agency time periods, and they've dealt with adversity. You're not going to hit on like half your free agents. Like they're not going to all hit, especially in the same year. DeGrom's not pitching. Now Scherzer's not pitching, but all good. Look, John Gray was a buy. Nate Eovaldi was a buy. Corey Seager was a buy. Marcus Semien was a buy. Jordan Montgomery was an ad. Credit to Chris Young and company. They crushed it over like a 2-year span. They did it quickly. So they're 1 win away. They've never won one in franchise history. Fans are freaking out. We'll see what happens. We're on FT during the day, 1 to 3 Eastern time. So hear more from us. Send us questions. We'll go over it during the show. And then we are live after every World Series game. So we will see everyone after Game 5 and see what happens. Enjoy. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever. And we'll see you soon on FT.